Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Meticulous Talks on December 3rd, 2022. I am, as always, Cursed Chords.
And I'm Hithrock.
And I'm Bugle.
And I'm Grumpus. Grumpus? Grumpus. GP.
You all sound so different. Are you sick, perhaps?
Yes.
It's been a rough day.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have so many. I can't expect everyone to be at 100%.
We've got the first string and second string and third string commentators all in here. I'll leave it to the audience to decide who's who.
It's a great day. It's our potentially last match. Of the. Yes, I know.
I suppose Bugle also. Is it worth going that route? GP also knows.
There we go. Yeah, we done the thing. It was funny. Okay. Yes, I do also know.
But Hithrock and I are clueless.
Oh, but I also know, so you're the only one, Bugle.
Yeah.
Hithrock,
okay.
Whoops.
I get to be clueless. Huzzah!
Yeah, Hithrock watched the match when it was being recorded as a secondary referee, I guess, / spectator.
/ accomplice to Bigcheese.
Yes.
But yeah, we have been doing this thing for, almost 3 months now. There's been a lot of funny cards, and this could be the end of it right here. Cheese vanquished all opposition in the upper bracket, including Grandpa's once.
Thanks for rubbing that salt in the wound here.
Well, I'll spread it around because you then went on to knock out Bugle, and then set up this match.
It's almost over. It's almost over.
Or is it?
It's been 3 months. And so far, it's basically been the same as last year for my path through this dang tournament.
It's strangely coincidental, yeah.
But here we are at the finals, or tentative finals, as it were.
Yeah. As a reminder, again, I always explain this every time, because Cheese came in on the upper bracket. He has the advantage that he hasn't lost yet in the tournament, it being double elimination. So Grandpa's has to beat him twice if he wants to win the whole event. As Cheese only has to win once.
Right.
He has to beat him 4 times, because it's best 2 of 3 in each match.
I need to beat him in 2 best 2 of 3 matches.
Yes.
And for anyone who has communicated with me at all over the last several months, you all know just how enthusiastic I am about playing against Cheese's best performing decks.
Yeah.
How much I just love playing against Hot Wings, and even more so, just my favorite deck to face is Stunning Wonder.
Well, hey, you're the one who was playing blue-yellow for a long time.
Yeah, but apparently I didn't weaponize it.
No, you used the wrong starting problem.
I did. That was my fault. I used the wrong starting problem, and I didn't respect Featherweight. Or Pipsqueak, whoever it was. I can't remember.
Featherweight.
It is Featherweight. Okay, got it.
Pipsqueak
I was wrong. I also didn't use Shoeshine. I was very wrong. Like, the 3 biggest, most impactful changes made, and I did none of them. So, no wonder I just thought it was fun to play, instead of, like, Tartarus on Earth.
Yeah, well, on that subject, this is actually something that I really wanted to ask you about, because you've always been very good, when we've had you on the Steam, of explaining your rationale for choosing decks for these matchups. We are playing Adventure first, and you changed up your deck choices from this match versus the upper bracket final.
Did he changeling up his deck choice?
Well, necessarily so for the Adventure match, yes.
Technically. Yes, I did. And there was a reason behind that. There's the reason that makes an amount of logical sense, which is that I had just played a match against Bugle, who was running a deck very similar to Hot Wings in that it's still doing Bluna and Hasty Friend shenanigans, but had even more Frightened. And I was, by the skin of my teeth, able to beat that one. And I figured since there's more protection in here for some of the hard removal that Cheese's List runs, that maybe this isn't as difficult, or maybe this isn't as impossible as I thought. Maybe if I get a good start and can get the lockdown relatively early, that I can find a way to deny Cheese enough points. And as Bugle and you have mentioned previously, or I guess it was Joshington last week, the blue-pink version of Hot Wings relies a lot more on face-offs than the single confronts that the blue-purple one does with Lustrodon. So if I can just create infinite critter tokens at problems, I effectively cap Cheese at 2 points plus the number of dilemmas he plays in any given turn, as he will never be able to win a face-off.
Yes, and his only point acceleration in the draw deck is Night Glider, who is
not going to help against infinite burps.
It is difficult for Hot Wings to get Infinity +5 in a face-off.
Right. So that's the logical reason to play this deck. The actual reason that I went in with was, I'm so tired of facing these lists as I have been for 3 months. I'm going to play the decks that I find the most fun.
All right. Well, that is always a logical reason to play anything. So as I have it up, this is the first time that we're going to see this deck, the combo deck, played outside of a game 3. It's always been game 3 up to now. It's the first time that you've been leading off with it. We've seen it a bunch of times. It's been explained a bunch of times. I don't know that we need to dwell on it particularly much.
Probably not. I do think I made one sideboard error here in that I forgot that I had a special beam cannon in the deck. I had apparently just passed over that and thought it was just Brian for my resource removal. Should have taken out the special beam cannon in place of like Barrel or Makeover, but I didn't. But otherwise, yeah, sideboarding decision here is very easy. If Bluna doesn't flip so as to get me my secondary color and ability, I am just fine with that.
Can you enter purple without Resh Makeover if they don't flip?
We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
So we're not going to talk about that. Like I said, sideboarding error.
It's a bold choice, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for us.
Sure.
And, to be fair, Cheese obviously doesn't know the sideboard till after the match is over.
Right. Yeah. Cheese doesn't know it. Were I Cheese in this situation, I would not expect, yes, my opponent sided out all of their entry.
Not all of it. I've got the speech. I can get 1 purple.
Okay.
Which is not enough to
Tranquility.
It lets me play Tranquility. It's not enough to do anything, but, get there.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah. Moving over to Cheese's deck. It is the same Hot Wings we've seen. I've switched up the key cards to emphasize all the immediate speed Frighten in the deck because of how important it is in this matchup. As we saw last week, you and Bugle.
So, Stop Fighting, notably, can only hit 2 relevant cards in the combo. Fluttershy and Day Shift. And Day Shift is a lot less relevant than Fluttershy. That said, if GP only draws 1 Fluttershy, that is a legal target. Like, a valuable target, rather.
Sure. It definitely can do some disruption, and it's one of the reasons that I debated what I should do for removing all that entry, because that may actually be worth playing a Fit of Peak at some point.
To get rid of the Stop Fightings, yes.
Yeah.
Does he have any Griffins he can play?
Yes.
Yeah. He has 3.
at Gallus and Silver Streams.
Yeah, but it requires a requirement. I was thinking like during the lock, which the answer is yes, but only if they have lots of pink in play. Okay.
Mhm.
Yep. And she's a sideboard all the resource removal, as well as the cardboard box. I mean, yeah, it's kind of obvious.
Well, it's not all the resource removal. The property damages are still there.
That's true.
But it is like property damage is at least a 2-power friend. It can move Bluna. It does more than a cardboard box when the opponent's face-off plan is, I have infinite power.
Right.
Well, across infinite bodies, infinite power on one body could be overcome.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So far in the tournament, these games with the combo deck have either been very short or very long. So we shall see.
No comment.
Any further comments before we get into it?
Sure. I actually think being the person who is unaware of the outcome, I think GP is actually very favored in this matchup. He will lose the early game, but he knew that already. Like, you don't come into this matchup expecting, yes, I am going to stop Bluna from scoring a single point. This is a thing that I will accomplish. But because he gets an extra card and he starts with a massive 8 bonus, and unlike my blue-purple deck, this deck does not have Thunder Lane. That 8 is going to be much harder to achieve early than it would have been in the blue-purple list. So despite losing the early game, he will be able to stall out early enough, my prediction anyway, and that he will be able to get the full lock and stop Cheese from winning.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, can you really come up with a deck that wins early game against Bluna?
Yes, other Bluna, and win the die roll.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah.
If there's one comment I can make here, it's just to be the persistent thorn in Cursed's side. I don't think Belly Flop is the relevant card. I'd put Nightmare Night One of Fright there instead.
He doesn't put problems there.
I know he doesn't, but we talked about it. We talked about it last time, and he was like, "Okay, maybe I'll do that."
You know, as an improvement for next year when I can get a new layout for this overview screen.
See, could have put Gallus and Silverstream because they can trigger Stop Fighting.
Nightmare Night is much worse than Gallus and Silverstream is in conjunction with Stop Fighting.
I mean,
Sure,
was
but I'm saying it fits the layout.
Oh, sure, it does. Anyway,
yeah.
Little needling aside.
No, I you know, it's been long enough. I'm take it. I will step back for the commentary. Let you guys fill the void. But shall we get to it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go.
Okay, let's do it. I have at least committed to having fun in this game. And Cheese rolling a 1 is an encouraging sign. Okay. You want to say another encouraging sign? Watch this.
Zippo, Zippo, Zippo. No critters, though. Pretty awful. But three Zippos, arguably the most important part of the combo. As we mentioned, Zippo has the potential to give you infinite power. Well, no, Fluttershy gives you infinite power. But Zippo stops Cheese from scoring points. So yeah, pretty impactful. And of course, you also have the Novo, so you're at 2 of 5 pieces, correct?
Right, counting Day Shift, Fluttershy, and Double Follow My Lead.
Mm-hmm. I was not counting Day Shift.
You don't have to count. Well, there's Day Shift anyway. So.
Well, part asterisk of the combo has been drawn.
Yep. I ultimately decided to keep 3 Zippos, fully expecting Cheese to flip early, knowing I can get into early wreck there. And remember, there are other critters in this deck as well outside of the combo. Rise and Shine, Brian, Gummy, all that can end up potentially doing work. And try and Fluttershy if I can find them to dig a little deeper to find the other combo pieces. So if I can get the Zippo down early, I can at least be doing some disruptive plays to stop Cheese from being able to aggro as efficiently.
So,
score phase, confront.
Cheese has a lot of entry, and I was thinking he might play the Professor here, but then I remembered, no, someone needs to get to 8 points eventually, and that Professor can in fact dismiss a Fluttershy, which someone just drew. Wow. So, if you're willing to discard cards, you have a lock.
And I mean, looking at what I have available to discard right now, I can pitch a Spitfire and a Golden Parachute. I'll draw off of Spitfire. I can find one more card and potentially pitch that. The problem is I don't want to pitch anything else in my hand right now. Now I do.
Now you do. So I'm expecting that you, at this point, you don't want to commit to the board yet. You don't have any forms of protection. Like Parachute is in your hand, but your discard is completely full.
I will pay one to draw.
And Cheese, like, who knows what he's capable of at this point. Oh, that's a good draw.
So with the 2 AT in Cheese's hand, there could be a Rutherford, there could be a Stop Fighting. There could also be, I think Cheese is running Food Fight and also running Belly Flop. He can't do anything with Belly Flop because he doesn't have the wreck, but Food Fight could hit a Zippo. So my thought right now is if I want to commit to this board, I want to be sure that I can do so in such a way that I can get my discard pile full of enough cards plus a Golden Parachute before I play the Zippo.
Right.
And that's actually exactly what I'm going to do. I will.
So Fluttershy, Fluttershy is more vulnerable than Zippo here. That does surprise me.
Well, she's only vulnerable in this point to Stop Fighting. Cheese has no other immediate speed, removal, or disruption he can play at 2 action tokens with the wreck he has that could mess with Fluttershy.
Right. That said, Cheese's hand is looking pretty,
Here, just a moment.
pretty, so-so. It doesn't have, the only disruption it has is the Trot, which is, my expectation is that will come down next turn, and the Spitfire.
I will. The Trot's pretty good for sure. Especially since I have not found the Follow My Leads yet.
Right.
To make a critter check.
You can still use the Zippo, but it's not free.
Trigger Spitfire.
Or rather, the Fluttershy.
No, I use Fluttershy here for the reason that I said earlier. I now have 3 cards in the discard pile. One of them is Tranquility. I'd really like not to use that if I don't have to, but at least now the first Zippo has protection if Cheese does have the Food Fight.
Right. Protection is more important than 1 or 2 extra AT down the line.
Right. And confront for a point.
Okay.
And drawing the Rise and Shine off of the Spitfire is also pretty good.
Yes, the Rise and Shine is fantastic. That is effectively 2 moves for the cost of just a single AT. Plus, you scored a point this turn. This is your turn 3, and you scored a point and have half of the combo already. Okay.
It's going okay.
It's not a bad start.
That's fine. I'm gonna pass priority. Sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna draw a card for turn.
Property damage, not a huge draw here.
Okay.
For Cheese.
I'm going
No,
to
as mentioned before, property damage is only effective as a 2-power body.
pay
So
1.
if I'm Cheese, I'm looking at my hand. I'm going, well, this Trot is the best thing I have in my hand. I should try and DFO.
You got to try and force it at some point, right?
Exactly. That said, his best way to force the DFO here is to play Spitfire, which is the worst case scenario for you because he will scare your Zippo and then you will not be able to stop the confront. No, that's not true. You have the Royal Scorn in your hand.
Right. So I'd still have the means of doing it.
Discarding.
Interestingly, he used the angel wings here. It was not necessary, but it is security.
I think he used angel wings so he can
Right
ensure
hand.
that unless I have some kind of disruptive trick, I'm not going to be able to
frighten
deny
Zipper
him
will.
both confronts, and he'll get a point somewhere because now he doesn't need to rely on Bluna over at Trot.
Okay. Then I will go to score phase.
I'm going to.
Yeah, here you have a worthless special beam cannon and a royal scorn, so you can move home and scare the angel wings, or just move home the Spitfire. I would imagine you would go for the better value with the angel wings.
I believe you mean scare the Spitfire. Well, first I'll make the critter token.
Oh, right. It's only when you play it you get both effects. That's correct.
I'll pay 1 when activating Royal or when discarding Royal Scorn.
Yeah, so scaring the Spitfire. Or you could scare or move, can't you?
Okay.
I can scare or move. I would rather scare.
Right. Because what you're hoping to do here, since you put that critter at that
I'll go to score phase.
Tyrix Rain,
That's fine.
I'm expecting what you are hoping to do is DFO yourself.
Okay. Yeah, game 3. And get Trot out of there as soon as I can.
Get Trot gone. You have day shift, so the question is how do you do this with 4 AT? You have exactly 5 at the one problem and exactly 1 at the other problem. You can play 2 day shifts, that's great, but it isn't quite enough here.
Mm-hmm.
I think going for the DFO this turn, if I remember, would just involve too much resource expenditure and leave me too fragile. It's not worth doing it yet. I've got the Rise and Shine in hand. If I force Cheese to use another Frighten piece, then that's 2 of them down, and we haven't even had an initial problem face off yet.
That's a reasonable, yes.
If there's ever a face-off that I'm going to be okay losing in this game, it's going to be this one where there's no real stakes involved. Rise and Shine?
Interesting. You did play the Rise and Shine here. I would have expected you to have waited to see if they have Cheese waste resources for a DFO. He didn't have the ability to, but since he had no hasty cards in his hand, but I would have expected waiting on the Rise and Shine here.
It gives me a little bit of extra security, and I can, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you're just talking about waiting for the priority window,
that's fine.
I was going to deny him as many points as possible. I'm in a pretty good board state right now. If I can deny a double confront, or if I can deny 2 confronts for 1 card, I'm going to take it. I'd rather do that over be guaranteed to deny a face-off.
Fair enough. There's that Fit of Peak we had talked about, though no white in play. But it is still valuable here because you can replace a discard with effectively 1 AT.
Correct. Now, do you see the line here? Pay 1 for Fluttershy harboring a fugitive. Moving my main.
But no day shift.
No day shift yet. I don't have a Queen Novo set up. Day shift is less relevant. Let's go to score phase. It is relevant in that I could keep Zippo at a problem and start setting up power, but I can't set up infinite power because I don't have the follow my leads. But this does get rid of T-Rex Reign of Terror, and provided that I can make another critter, which I can. And given that I have 2 day shifts here and already some established threats on the board, including 2 Fluttershies, which is a good place to be in early.
Okay.
I'm likely okay dumping one of them plus a Fit of Peak. But I think I just opt not to do that because, hey, day shift will be valuable eventually. At least here,
it looks like you went for a single. Cheese is looking pretty bad here. Like, he drew another property damage, which, as we've established, is not
I
that
will pay
effective.
2.
Like playing property damage is about as good
And
as
a
moving
joyous
a
pony
character.
And draw a card.
The joyous pony here at least gets him an extra draw. Now that's a card. So
That'll do a little more work.
looks like he can better
Let's
attempt to
add,
DFO here.
Is that actually useful? It's a little useful.
Yes, I expect Cheese, like, you can stop him, but it is very costly to stop a DFO here.
Right. I'd be losing several cards in order to do so.
Yeah,
I'm
most of your hand, if not all of it.
But again, it's one of those face-offs that, yeah, I'm fine if that happens. Here, I'm just trying to think. I still have a pretty advantageous position. We're tied on points right now.
Okay.
I'm going to go for denying this yet again, denying the first confront. Because he can play the Fleshy Dash.
Yes, but you
That's fine.
have a Zippo and a Fluttershy. Like,
Right.
you haven't shown that you have block, but you can stop it, and you would probably be willing to discard some number of the cards in your hand.
I'm still digging to try and find a follow my lead.
Oh, Parachute's still pretty good.
Yep, Parachute's not bad.
Yeah, because even one follow my lead is monumentally better than 0 follow my leads, because sure, you still have to discard another card each time, unless it's Fit of Peak, in which case you're spending an action token. You are just you can move enough things with your hand that's a worthwhile proposition for you.
Right.
Anyway, now Cheese, if I'm Cheese in this situation, I am sweating. I have fewer points than my opponent. My opponent, who is the slow deck.
Moving over, not drawing that.
The opponent who is trying to just prevent me from getting 215, and they have more than me, and I have still yet to DFO.
Attempt to confront.
Now he is going for a single face-off. Probably because confronting Trot is just so valuable here.
Shut off the Zippo for even a single turn, make me pour additional resources into it. The one thing this deck does not have great numbers of is resource generation.
Right.
That being said, I'm going to try and leverage the advantage as much as I can.
And now you can DFO for 0 action tokens next turn.
Exactly. Which actually means DFOing for 2 action tokens, because I'm clearly going to play a day shift first.
Well, yes.
Sure.
So Cheese opts not to play the Fleshy Dash yet again. Again, he knows that you can stop him. He doesn't know how costly it is.
The amount of disruption I've been able to draw without any filtering has actually been kind of ridiculous. I've drawn 2 Rise and Shines, a Nap Cakes, and a Royal Scorn. Along with 2 Unsats so far. Which is great for making sure that I can capture this point lead, which I am right now. I'm going to be up by 4 points after this face-off. It's not great for getting me any closer to actually being able to establish a loss.
Yeah. You still don't have a Novo in play. Like, you still have to actually pay 3 for that Novo at some point.
Ready?
And we're about to see the death of many critters.
This was the Frightened Trend.
How could you do this to poor puppy pony?
Okay, let's solve the problems.
That said, a 4-point lead is huge here.
Trigger that first before. Hate seeing that problem on his side, though. Nightmare Knight is very frustrating because it artificially slows down my ability to score until I can get redundancy on all my key combo pieces.
Basically everything, right.
And shift over here. Drawing the tranquility off of figuring out friendship is nice, though. There's a little resource advantage. So
Right. Yeah. Your next. Whoops. Your next turn, you will have.
6 to homeland.
Is it 6 plus
6,
4?
yeah,
Yep, 6. 6 action tokens, and you'll have seen 2 new cards. Unless, of course, one of those cards is Tranquility, in which case you will be at 8 and have seen 3 new cards.
Let's not talk too much about Tranquility yet. There's a different deck we can talk about Tranquility.
So here we see 2 Discords, which Discord is normally used in Hot Wings to find a final question. That said, I think Cheese is pretty okay with having a Nightmare Knight here.
Mm-hmm.
Angel Wings.
Okay.
So here Cheese is playing an Angel Wings simply because Angel Wings chains into other things, allowing for some redundancy. Oh, interesting. Cheese has main phase played the Spitfire. Probably because he assumes Zippo will be activated during the score phase.
Seems reasonable to assume that.
Then.
So now something has been scared, and all these Griffins can fall into play.
Go to score phase.
Yeah, he's got 2 of the 3 in his hand right now. No stop fightings.
Nightmare Knight.
And I'm really thinking about this. I'm thinking hard about this unset and whether or not I want to use it here.
Oh, you would use the Napcakes, wouldn't you?
Napcakes can only hit the Angel Wings. Spitfire is going to be more of an AT investment, but does give him an additional Frighten later.
Right.
That being said, he chooses not to go for the not to go for the DFO here. I think
that's surprising because I would always go for it if the Zippo is scared.
Never mind. He does go for it here.
So now that's 12. An unset doesn't stop the DFO at this point.
No, it doesn't. This is also a DFO that's worth 1. I know that if he does DFO here, he'll tie the score.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, he'll be down by 1. But my day shift will be frightened.
Yes, but the day shift being frightened is a lot less scary than your only Fluttershy being scared. But because you have 2, day shift is a much more valuable choice.
Flipping the follow my lead hurts. I would have really liked to see that.
Yes.
Okay.
So I believe Cheese has now used 2 of those Spitfires.
Okay. Yes, that is 2 Spitfires used because one of them is at home frightened, and that is the second Nightmare Knight in a row, back to back, no Discord shenanigans.
Yeah, but your own problem is pretty good there too.
It is. It is a very good problem, except for the fact that I don't really have concerns about my friends leaving play right now. I have 2 parachutes in the discard pile. I have nothing else. I have nothing better, right? Like, that's fine. But
useful in play.
I already have a good amount of protection up against pink removal. What I'd really like is just to get closer to this this critter lock if I can, and knowing that there's a follow my lead on the bottom, not great. Also, that's now the 3rd Spitfire.
Pass turn.
So with Bigcheese, will it be beneficial to use Discord to find Nightmare Knight again?
I could not understand a thing you just said.
Tranquility.
Yes, using Discord to find Nightmare Knight does sound like a very appealing option to choose. The question is does he value that over the 2 points that final question provides?
Part of the reason discording for that may not be the most desirable thing is that would mean needing to commit Discord to Nightmare Knight right now, who does nothing to help add power towards confronting it, as it is purely mono blue.
My voice should be better now.
Let's play Zippo.
You opted to play a Zippo rather than move or Oh, just rally a Zippo, which would only cost 2, simply because it gives you, it gives you the free Bluna quote-unquote move, as well as,
Unfrightened Zippo at home.
oh, well, there you go. Okay, what am I talking about?
Yeah, redundancy.
Yeah, it's redundancy.
Go to score phase. I have more 1AT tricks than I know what to do with right now. I'm confronting that problem. Everything seems fine.
Right, yeah. Keeping your point lead is still very valuable because, I mean,
Draw card.
if you get to 15 before the aggro deck, doesn't matter if you've locked them out or not.
Uh-huh.
To play.
That said, you are now at 8 points.
I sure am. Okay.
Good thing you have some parachutes.
Yep.
Now, the question is, do you remember that you have parachute?
Oh, yes. The whole reason I've been discarding parachute and doing Zippo stuff early was to get them out there. I've just been itching for a chance to use them.
Just because that's what you did doesn't mean you'll remember at the time. Tournaments have been known to put stress on the people.
Hold on, Chris, I'll try and get them on the table.
But you're in a pretty good spot. I'm sure you would go, yes, this is exactly all according to plan.
Yes.
And since something was in fact not dismissed, that Gallus and Silverstream is not free. Well, does not have its cost reduced by 3, I should say. Not the same thing as free.
Well, let's pay 1 to draw.
I do believe that is a 7 on Cheese's side. Yes.
That's correct.
Now, it's interesting to me that he opted to pay to draw there rather than just try something. Like, he already had the Night Glider in his hand.
I don't know if he was looking for Rutherford stop fighting or additional methods of being able to disrupt me. That may have just been what he was going for.
Mm-hmm.
Because
yes, Rutherford would be very good here.
Yeah, at this point, I do only have the 1 parachute in discard left as far as protection is concerned.
Right. Yeah, you have a Brian in your hand, but a Brian in your hand is not as valuable as a Brian in play.
I do. And that Brian in hand is going to be interesting here in a bit, because there are some complications with that Brian. Spend 1 and play Napcakes on your Night Glider. Might as well time walk my opponent here.
Okay.
Sort of. It's not exactly a time walk, but forcing another dead draw and denying a confront for 1 AT seems okay.
That's fine.
My turn?
Yep.
Well, and you stopped a confront.
That's what I said. And denying the confront.
Oh, yes. Oh, it's Fluttershy.
Hi, Fluttershy. I don't need you right now, but it's good to have you, I guess.
So, the count so far on combo pieces is 3 Zippos, 3 Fluttershys, 1 Novo, 2 Day Shifts, and 0 Follow My Leads. The thing you need 2 of.
It's worse than 0 Follow My Leads. It's like -1 Follow My Leads because one of them is the last card in my deck.
Right. And you haven't been able to shuffle because the only way you have to shuffle in your deck, I believe, is a problem, which has not shown up.
Correct. I'll play Brian to this problem to send home Professor Flappers. So Brian is a critter. This is great. I get to move Pinky home and force additional, plays and resources out of Cheese. This is a game where I am just having to try to drain Cheese of as many resources as I can. I'm just playing control. This is not combo right now. This is just straight up control.
Yeah, we've gone back to Marks and Time era. Yep. Hot Wings versus Zippo, Will.
Now, here is the awkward thing. I can no longer make critter tokens at my problem if I want to be able to use Brian.
Yes, because it cannot leave play. It's not cannot be dismissed, cannot be banished. It is cannot leave play. That said, you do still have a Zippo at home, but...
I do, and I'm aware of this. But that is something that was a little bit of a wrench here, where Okay, yeah, I definitely wanted to play that Brian up there for the free move. But boy, it's a little unfortunate as for what that means if I want to use him for protection.
Yeah, you could have played Brian to home, but then you would have been in excess of your home limit, and you quite like all of your cards there at the moment, despite having the redundancy day shift in hand.
Right. Fit of Peak and Spitfire.
So we're finally seeing that Fit of Peak get discarded here.
Yep.
And you have action tokens, so
yep. And I'm
probably hold on to it.
Yep, I'm definitely going to pay to bring it back. A couple triggers here, but Discord is a must remove here, or must shift back home anyway.
Now I'm interested in what Cheese found, like, because as we discussed, could be Nightmare Night, or it could just be Final Question. I can't see it possibly being any other card if we're being realistic. No, it could be locked in here with me. That is actually interesting because having an extra problem in play is very relevant against the Novo lock.
It is. Well, no, it's not. Having an extra problem in play does nothing against the true Novo lock because I can just bounce things back and forth between numerous areas. I actually only need one Novo to complete.
Well, I meant, like, if the Zippos are scared, but there is a Novo still drastically impacts confronting.
Sure.
But if you can confront a problem where Novo is not at, it's easier the more problems there are. Now, here's a card you're probably pretty happy to see, a card that was very effective last week.
Yeah, this one's not bad. Gives me everything I want. Gives me some additional card filtering. Gives me some free critter generation. All in all, yeah, not bad. Glad to see it.
Now, the question is do you move your Bluna here?
I absolutely do. I think. I know I moved that Bluna over there at some point here, and I'm pretty sure it's this turn. I just need to think if I do it off of this. I might do it off of... Nope, I do it off of this. That's fine.
Okay, yeah. Which is not enough to confront either problem. Well, no. You are still confronting
Chrysalis there
on yours, because that is a 4... Is that really a 4/7?
No.
No,
that is a 6/7.
It is a 6/7, yeah.
So I am not. But I am going to play another day shift.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. Am I just moving up Zippa? No, I do opt for the day shift here.
It's so I like this play. Like, despite the fact that now you're opening yourself up for a single at the problem that you like less, you're a lot more okay with that problem triggering as a single problem face-off than a double problem face-off.
Also, if Cheese does trigger that, and he happened to choose Final Question as the problem he put on top, fantastic. He's only going to be facing off on his turn. I'll have first crack to deny him that bonus.
Right, and you'll have plenty of action tokens. And a Bluna.
Yep. Okay.
So, okay, he says, I'm going to try. Night Glider plus Luna. Let's do a single. Because it's not like you have a Fit of Peak in your hand or anything.
No. Definitely not.
Scoreface.
Scoreface is fine.
Attempt to confront Nightmare Night.
Oh, okay. You do...
Unset your Night Glider. I'm curious where Eminently said I was running way over home limit there because everything's been resolved on the appropriate turns.
Yeah, and even after this face-off, like you'll get your day shift trigger.
Well, probably not.
We'll get rid of that.
In this particular board state, I would assume that...
Yeah, true.
King 4, Meticulous 2.
So, yeah. Not that a face-off happened, because Cheese is playing very conservatively here. He is not going for the Hail Marys here. To be fair, you have so much obvious disruption in play.
Yeah, let's exhaust petting.
Why would he, right?
Right. I still haven't been able to get any color lockout. I haven't been able to set up with Novo yet, so there's not really that much of a reason for him to opt for that yet. I did find one of the follow my leads with Fluttershy, so okay, now we're in a better state. Now I have 2 cards that I don't actually have to spend anything from hand. I just have to spend 1 AT every time I want to do it.
Right.
But, it's closer.
Still no Novo, though. That said, there are 3 points in play, and it is very likely you are going up to 11 points this turn.
Uh-huh.
Shoot.
I will attempt to confront Nightmare.
Cheese is at 6. There are, again, 3 points in play. He has a Night Glider. That's not enough. Like,
Let's pay 1.
even if he stops you this turn,
Pay 1.
what does he do, right?
Pay 1 for stop fighting on Fluttershy.
Okay, so stop fighting frightens 1 Fluttershy.
And then he can
Pay
pay
3.
0 to scare the other Fluttershy.
Actually, we'll pay 2.
Since you do not have any white in play. You can't banish that with the Fit of Peak.
Correct.
Now we'll pay
Oh,
3.
M said, in the case of a
Or
DFO, you would be
Starfire.
well over your whole limit.
Mm-hmm.
And discarding.
Not that you actually were, just the danger is there.
Yes, it's true. But again, I'm not going to go for a face-off unless I am all but absolutely confident that I can end up.
Fluttershy.
Sure.
So that's another scared Fluttershy. So now all you have is a single unsatisfactory work.
Correct.
That said, you also have 5 power at 1 problem and 6 power. So like, you're not guaranteed to lose this face-off or anything either.
No.
Like, Cheese can't even transform Pinky here. I have never seen Hot Wings not have a Pinkie Pie in play, just somewhere.
I'm going to unset Spitfire. I am going to go for the unset in this case.
Because sure, while he can replay it, it would have cost him 3, but he goes for the Griffin instead. Now he could scare something here as well.
That's fine. He could, but he forgets.
Oh, that's
This is his last Griffin.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yes, that's all 3 of them. So now I only have to worry about 1 more stop fighting in deck. I don't have to pay attention to the discard pile any longer. Yep, that's fine.
Oh, I actually need to get those points. Face off.
Now, even if he scares the day shift here, you will still get the day shift trigger. So you still get to move things even if day shift is scared.
I do not believe that is true because Nightmare Night What a Fright is a trigger on when this problem is solved, and day shift triggers on when a problem enters play.
Correct. There are no priority windows between those 2 things.
I
actually had Cursed look that up during our match in case it would become relevant.
I don't know if that's accurate, but we can take a look later.
I can take a look now.
Well, regardless, that's not how we played it.
Yeah.
Despite that being how you would have ruled it last time. Interesting.
Well, I guess I assume these 2 know the rules. And then they didn't kick up a stink about it.
Okay. Let's ready cards. Gain 5 action tokens. Meticulous 2. Makes the Nightmare Night far less scary if that actually is the case. I'm debating heavily here on one of these 2 cards, and I'm trying to remember.
So
I'll put this one on.
the problems become solved at the end of the face-off, right?
Here.
And there's a separate solve step where they get replaced. So there must be a priority.
Yeah, if the problem does become solved within the face-off as part of the consequence of that face-off being completed, then there absolutely is a priority window before the solve step.
Okay.
Let me double check.
So I'm expecting you to play Novo here. Novo is a 3-power character. It furthers your lock. It makes it harder for him to DFO here, and it gives you enough power to confront Final Question on its own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, plus the Luna trigger.
Yep.
And instead you're moving a Zippo, probably for home limit reasons.
So the problems become solved as part of the solve step.
Move my main.
So Bugle is correct.
Moving Fluttershy is simpler than
You mean playing Fluttershy?
Playing Fluttershy is simpler than rallying a Fluttershy.
That being said, I think I still opt to... I'm trying to remember. Yes, I do still opt to unthreaten the Fluttershy to have some redundancy here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to Eminently's earlier point, yeah, I'm way in excess of my home limit here. Go to score.
Mm-hmm.
Attempt to confront final question.
Sure.
So I will have to do a little cleanup on that.
That said, he doesn't have a 1AT way of stopping you from confronting this problem.
No.
Like, if he had a belly flop, you have 2 Bryans in play that are probably not going to be in play at the end of the turn anyway. And he can't scare enough with the only stop fighting that he has left in the deck. So this is a pretty safe confront. And going up to 12, as we mentioned, there are well, now there's 4 points in play, but stopping him, ensuring he just does not have those 2 points regardless, is a very safe thing to do here. And unless he stops you from winning the game next turn, which seems difficult with his board state,
I will pay 1 to draw.
he has yet to find a single Rutherford.
Yeah, he only runs 2 in the list, but he still has not seen any, and I think he's down into his teens on cards left in deck. He's definitely made some comments about that over the course of the game, or is going to eventually. Now, 2 belly flops, a Spitfire, a Professor of Laughter. Okay.
He only has 4 action tokens.
Okay. 2 belly flops plus Professor of Laughter is still a thing. He's gonna make me burn through my stuff.
I mean, there's fine.
Interesting decision forcing the retiring of the Brian here.
The Fluttershy up here.
Because obviously you go for the Brian over a parachute.
Okay.
Correct.
I'll go to...
Playing the Angel Wings there may have been the better choice. Well, maybe not, because that would have then basically handed me the face-off, right?
Discord.
Okay. I guess he had 2 belly flops left. He could have gotten rid of one of the friends. He could have gotten rid of Zippo. Ready. But gain 5. Meticulous.
Okay.
I had enough cards in hand. I was guaranteed to.
She's passing there. He is hoping that 2 belly flops can bypass a single parachute. But even if he does that, what does he do the turn after that? You have such a commanding board position here. I don't think that even if he successfully double belly flops you to stop a DFO, that he can win the game. He has a very modest hand at the moment.
I would assume what he would end up doing is opting for Angel Wings into a disruption piece, and then Plushy Dash to move up some of the Griffins at home. That being said, let's just watch this one play out here, because this is.
I did very much like the move your 3-power friend here, so now that you can confront it. Also, let's move your 2-power friend home, just so that I have a commanding board presence here.
Pay 1.
And then I'm going to,
Rima Dash first mullet. into Zipper Will at the problem.
I will retire.
This is a very funny turn, and I like how it's going to resolve. I can already see what's going to happen. You're going to move a Gallison Silverstream, which he is going to retire again, and then you're going to move another Gallison Silverstream.
That's not enough. Playing the Novo here was actually kind of an error. Each of those Gallison Silverstreams is now just 1 power.
Yeah, I was
That's a
wondering
good
about the
point.
Nova.
Yeah. I wanted to do that. I thought about the consequence of doing that because I knew it was going to require me to use more cards in order to move the things up there. But I also really needed to be sure that I was going to win that face-off moment.
Oh, you could have played the Zippo instead.
Yes.
Or make more critters.
I'll make
Like
the
you
critter
Well,
move things
more
in
critters
before
does-
the face-off and move things out during the face-off, right?
Sure. Yeah. The Nova was also kind of a safety play in the event that something disrupted me here and I wasn't able to actually cause this face-off to take place.
Okay, yeah. Oh man, I was so hype about that, but you are right. Your own Novo stopped the combo here.
Do it again?
Oh, are you trying to move them all anyway?
I'm doing it anyway. To get back.
Mm-hmm.
Another critter. I'll just start marking these now, so this will be critter number 4.
How sad is it
Because
though?
why not?
And both of these are -2.
Correct. I'm gonna go for broke.
How sad is it though when your only option is to belly flop your own friend, not because it disrupts the opponent, but because it stops you from having enough power for a face-off.
Yep.
To belly flop into your Zipper Will.
And now I finally end up using the other parachute in the discard. What are you retiring? Sure. But yeah, Cheese, I believe, makes a comment about how he did not expect that to be why he plays 2 belly flops this turn.
But again, like, yes, this gives Cheese an extra turn. I can't deny that Cheese has an extra turn. I don't see how his deck with 5 action tokens can possibly get out of this situation.
Okay. I mean, a Rutherford sure would be a nice start. Pass.
That is not how I was intending that to go, but I guess.
Yeah, there's his commentary on that.
Draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
So M says that you might not be able to win next turn if he can successfully DFO. I can't see him successfully DFOing on 5AT.
Really?
Well, yes, he could potentially get enough power there. You can just discard your entire hand to move 2 of his characters home.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, more than 3 of his characters home. Due to the follow my lead being able to be used every single time.
Correct.
I commend him for going for the extra turn. Let's see what his Hail Mary is. But short of, like, he didn't draw Rutherford, like, it just seems impossible to me.
Wings? I don't think it matters where I put it.
And this is another misplay here, I believe, as I think he drops the Angel Wings into play at final question.
Right, which would reduce her to 0 power.
Right.
Put it over here. It's fine.
Sure. In response, let's go. Follow my discard Zippo. Make a crit. And let's move.
Well, plus, I don't think he can win the DFO. Like, even if you let him do it.
I'm currently at 16 power at that problem.
And that's not even counting the additional critters that you would make. Yeah.
Sure, we'll pay 1.
So,
play Spitfire.
looks like he's trying for the single.
Yep.
Like, this does give him 1 extra power. in this face-off.
Frightening.
And he can.
It's
Scare
more than
Zippo.
one.
It's
more
3.
than one.
Remember
It's
experienced.
3.
Oh, that's a good point.
I forgot about it too.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
did-
why did face-off happen?
I did not. Okay, in response. That being said, it is still more advantageous for me to move home to Gallus and Silverstream, as they will be 3 power in the face-off. Or activate.
No, they will be 2
Or
power.
I'm sorry, they will be 4 power in the face-off. Follow my lead. They did not enter play or move there this turn. They
Oh
have
yes,
been there
they
since
did not.
last turn. So I move home to Gallus and Silverstream. We'll make a critter at home.
This critter sadly does have to go home.
Gallus and Silverstream. Yep. Get back. Follow my lead.
And you can still stop the confront here as well.
Anything else?
So I think you're okay with the face-off.
I am more than okay with the face-off here. Confront. This is completely fine.
But hey, Cheese made it to double digits. That is an impressive showing against the boogeyman of the tournament.
I really don't know if it's correct to describe
That's
this
what
deck
you
as the
call
boogeyman
it?
of the
Thank you.
tournament.
I was gonna say there are 2 people running that deck. There's 6 Hot Wings and 6 Stunning Wonder decks. Don't talk to me about Boogeyman.
There are 5 Hot Wings. I take offense to that.
You're right. There are 6 Blue Note lists.
Yes.
Well, you're the one in the finals, so you're the boogeyman.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, so is Cheese with Fluttershy and Hot Wings.
I would like to point out that 1 Hot Wings deck is in the finals. 2 Zippo-Will decks are in the finals.
Fair enough.
That was yet another reason, by the way, why I opted to play Zippo first. Was I was very, very confident Cheese was going to play Hot Wings, and I really don't want to do the thing. I don't want to do it. Please don't make me do it. I don't want to do it.
Fair enough.
You don't want a Chrissy versus Chrissy mirror again?
Thankfully, I still have to get through this match before I even have to worry about that. So,
yeah. So I'll admit fully off that if you had told me before the match that you were going to win against Hot Wings without ever assembling the full loop, I would have thought that was impossible. But you did.
Zippo real busted.
There is a reason, history lesson for you all. There is a reason Zippo-Will was the premier control deck for a couple of months.
I think Ivory actually brought up the best statement about Zippo-Will that I've heard recently, which is that Zippo-Will is a... You remember when we did our stream on cards that are bad for the meta overall, or are bad for the game overall a couple of weeks ago? Zippo-Will is a card that is bad for the game, because when Zippo-Will is acceptable to have in a meta, it is because the card effectively does nothing. And when the card starts doing something, it is completely dominant. There is no in-between.
Right. Are we say, or am I hearing ban list incoming?
So let's go to the next game.
Okay.
Wow, the dodge skills are so good.
Fair enough. You had already mentioned before, Grandpaws, that you were gonna play your fun decks this tournament or this match.
Yep.
You also changed up your choice for the core game.
Now this one had a different reason behind it as well, because as Cheese and I kind of bantered in our previous match, there was kind of the realization that it may have actually been more correct for Cheese to, in that match, run Alicorns first, because it would either end up forcing the Zippo mirror, or it would end up forcing the Stunning Wonder versus Grogar, which is heavily, well, not heavily, but still favors him. And it may have been better for me to run Grogar, or it may have been better for him if I ran Grogar up against Alicorns, so that... I'm sorry, have I just gotten completely back here? If he knew I was going to run Grogar because I was expecting him to run a Stunning Wonder, it may have been better for him to run Alicorns against Grogar, because that forces Royal Tutor against Stunning Wonder, which I have no chance of winning. There we go. There's the explanation.
This tournament format's awesome.
Yes. There's a little bit of mind games going on here. That being said, it's still a really fun deck, and I've been enjoying it more and more, and I've been practicing it more and more. And oh man, I thought I had this thing moderately well nailed down with a little bit of meme tech in here. No, I was wrong. We'll talk about this later. This thing has teeth.
Yeah. We saw just a teensy weensy little bit of it in your game against Bugle. But even there, it was looking well. You got off to a real good start.
Now, what I have been able to figure out in my testing would change one of these cards here. I do agree that Starlight is still very valuable, especially in this list where you don't have prize wheel cards yet. But
the one requirement is very important due to Celestia's unwillingness to flip early.
You can pay to draw in a worst case scenario. It's not great, but yes. And I've had no issues flipping Celestia so far. That being said, the real all-star of this deck, if you want to talk about AT generation, is that singleton copy of Magic Instructor right there. The math and shenanigans that you can get up to with that card and Tranquility are absurd. Consider this for a moment, okay? If you have a Magic Instructor in play and you play Mistmain while you already have a Mistmain in play, assuming that there are 2 Tranquilities in the discard pile, it is more action token efficient for you to grab the Tranquility out of your discard pile and pay to bring back the Mistmain than it is for you to just Mistmain cycle. And you get to dig deeper into your deck as a result. Assuming there was run Tranquility in the discard pile, playing Tranquility with Magic Instructor and any other unicorn nets you 1 from the first one and draws a card, then nets you 3 from the second one because the copy the version, the actual physical copy of the card you are copying is already in the discard pile when you process that trigger.
Yes. And the wording of Tranquility is gain 1, then gain 1 for every copy in the discard.
Right.
Yeah. It's a good combo.
That said, you do need to have 2 Tranquilities. You don't get the value if you just have the Magical Instructor.
Correct. Not that much. You would get 3 action tokens, which would be the same cost as playing Magic Instructor initially. You would still draw an extra card. But yes, it is not as good in that case.
You have almost turned Tranquility into let's get this party started.
Right. That being said,
no, you've turned it into way better than let's get this party started.
You get more. you get 1 more AT. Yeah, it's real good. Yeah. I was just trying to make an analogy.
Playing against Alicorns here, I'm less worried about the face-offs taking place, but To the Moon is a cheap event that's still nice to play and does let me occasionally just hit a really big friend, so that's good. Alicorns has a fair number of resources, so I'm going to leave in most of the resource removal. Future Headmare, I have not been super impressed with, and I found it better for the 1 power slot to just run a singleton copy of Field Twirler, which I think maybe you had suggested a while ago, Bugle.
Probably.
Yeah.
I love Field Twirler. I think that card is fantastic.
In decks where you are going to be able to aggro and need the additional power at a problem during your main phase, a singleton copy of Field Twirler is much, much better than Future Headmare. So that's fine. And then Luster Dawn, I've got 3 of them. I don't need all 3. 1 copy of Betrayed as well because, hey, Alicorns has Twilight. So.
Yep, fair enough. I'm gonna quickly sidle over to Cheese's deck. I'll make a note. Cheese has been playing very, shall we say, fast and loose with the sideboards this tournament. That is definitely a 3-card sideboard, and that is intentional.
Oh. I'm not sure, like, because this is the list that I brought to Continentals, so it's very curious. I think I would have actually taken out the Plurites in this matchup. Because stopping your AT gain is so difficult. I don't think I want to spend the action tokens on just a Plurite. I want to be spending action tokens on things that are going to end the game.
But have you considered stealing my Mistmane?
You have enough friends in your deck that you will be able to retire the Plurite eventually.
Maybe. It's not as easy as you think. And especially not against a deck that is also running 3 Belly Flops and 2 Chaos Magic Blasts and 2 Smiles.
Actually, stealing Mistmane is worthless. You have 3 Mistmanes in your deck, and you can tutor for them every single turn.
Most turns.
And you stealing a second Mistmane does nothing.
It doesn't, but it's funny.
It's funny, but it doesn't stop the Mistmane loop.
It does not. You're correct.
So no, I think I would have taken the Plurites out in this matchup because disruption is not how you're going to win. Because your deck is built around, I don't care what my opponent does. This is my time frame. This is when I am going to end the game. You have to end the game before me.
I'm going to have bigger, more impactful threats than you are, and I need less, speaking from Cheese's perspective, he needs less ramp up time than I do.
Yeah.
A single royal family or a single +1 can end up getting a massive body with very disruptive abilities into play.
Yeah, what are you going to put into play? I think your best option is Twilight and Twilight.
Yeah, basically something like that. So,
which is a hilarious option against Reanimator.
Just
saying.
It's funny. Let's go to the game.
Well, before we go to the game, I just want to bring this up because I'm interested to know if there was any proper discussion about it. There is a rules thing that's going to come up during the game, and I cut out all the discussion, so we're not going to have much time to talk about it
Sure.
on the commentary desk. But it is the matter of a +1 being attached to a friend who gets frightened,
Right.
and what happens in that case.
Sure. So we dug through the rules quite a bit because I thought that I remembered something different being ruled at Continentals, but we couldn't find immediate support for it. Ultimately, here's what I think happened. If you play... Oh, I remember what it was. Okay. The thing that happened in Continentals was if you played +1 on a friend that was already frightened.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
That's what it was. This is a case of +1 being on a friend that then becomes frightened, and the answer is, as part of that friend being frightened, any attachments on that friend are dismissed by the game, which means it was still attached to that friend before the friend becomes a new card, and the friend is retired.
The thing at Continentals was actually much weirder because it involved Chrysalis.
Okay.
But let's not dwell on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess fair warning, as far as I remember, that's not how we did it during the game.
No. We did do it correctly during the game. We absolutely ruled it correctly, which is that if a friend with +1 on it becomes frightened, that friend is retired.
No,
I'm sorry. You're right. I got it backwards. The friend becomes a new card, and +1 is a trigger, and that trigger fires after the friend has become a new card, and so the old card does not exist. You're right. I apologize. I got it backwards.
Yeah.
The friend is not retired.
Okay. And that's, PA announcement to all you. PSA, that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody in the chat, just in case it comes up in your games. Yes, let's get to the game.
That's how complicated this ruling is. We spent like 20 minutes trying to resolve it, and I still described it wrong like a week later.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting.
So I think I think we didn't discuss this, but I think you really want to win this game. The game 3 is looking rather bad for you if it goes to adventure.
No,
And
I completely disagree.
to adventure?
BRB against Zippo?
I will.
That is true. You do not need to flip your main. That is correct. Yes.
Not only do I not need to flip my main, I have more removal than he's going to be able to protect from. I also don't need to aggro as dramatically and can make tons of bodies with Bodyguard and run copies of Magical Misfire.
Mm-hmm.
Not that Misfire can bring back Follow My Lead or can interrupt that, but
your hand is
Good luck.
like it's not the worst hand. It has a
Game 2 and
some AT gen.
past.
Yeah, it's got an AT generator. It has 2 pieces of entry and it has 2 miss mains. Those are 2 miss mains that I don't have to search for. I decide I'm going to keep it.
And snack stand lets you play this. No, you always choose white with the snack stand. I forgot.
Correct.
Pass turn.
She's also has 2 pieces of entry here. That's a fun draw.
Notably, he has a Captain Jack that he can just play whenever he feels like. Once he has the requirement, obviously.
Yep.
Like during your ready phase, if he decides to. Like, because Captain Jack is one of the most fun things to put into play with Royal Family, because your opponent goes, I will put nothing into play.
Pass turn.
Or they will put Scooter into play. That can be a molly.
Game 2. Draw a card.
Pinky is also pretty good. Pinky can repeatedly, since your deck wants to use a lot of resources and friends, being able to disrupt 2 pieces of things, or 2 things every turn can be quite impactful, assuming the Pinky gods favor you, of course.
Right.
Discard card. Pay 2.
I saw GP hover over his P's there once the 0 AT Pinky Sense came into play.
+1.
Not the best value, but that's a bit better value over there.
This one's going to be okay.
Confront for 1.
And this was another reason that I didn't play the Starlight immediately, is I wanted to minimize the options my opponent had for potentially flipping and then playing like a Chaos Magic Blast to get rid of it. So waiting 1 turn here means the only thing that he could use to kill Starlight is the belly flop.
Mm-hmm.
And now he can't even do that.
Yeah. So I only just noticed that Cheese started with a different starting problem than I would have expected. I always start with lacking lesson plans simply because you can confront that turn 1. Your game plan is now active immediately. I get why you might want to start that problem. You can confront it with a single tricorn, but was surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I think that is the best piece I've ever seen.
It's a pretty good piece. Might as well get some of the resource generation going here. In front. Exalt. Gain NAT. So Starlight, go to 4. Pass. Yep.
Yeah. You had 2 other entry in your hand, so it wasn't that, like, sure, you spent like an entry for a thing that did not give you white power in the future, but you're pretty okay with that, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Will pay 3. +1.
Okay, +1, number 2.
And here's where you draw Luna's Future.
And
I do still have a Luna's Future in this version of the deck. That's true. All right.
I suppose the other really nice thing about playing the Rush Makeover there is Celestia wants resources in the discard pile.
You mean events?
Or, yes, events in the discard pile.
Yeah.
Drawing the 3rd Miss Vane, probably not your favorite.
Not the most exciting thing. Drawing the 3rd Rush Makeover, also not the most exciting thing.
That is at least a resource to put in the discard pile.
Do it again. It is. Okay,
Aha.
So now here's where we think about the thing. And there's some going on.
Well, I'm pretty sure you do it regardless.
Oh, I do.
We still
But I'm
need
just
to know
making
whether
sure-
Pinky is in play or not.
Yeah, I'm just making sure I don't want to do anything else first. Naming. I'm playing that Rush Makeover here so that I can end up flipping Celestia.
Correct, yes. Brush Makeover into purple, which you already had plenty of, but it's effectively a zero cost way to get a event in the discard pile.
And I'm still holding 2 pieces of additional white entry in my hand later if I need it.
Yes.
Okay.
One of which is temporary, and the other of which is kind of sort of temporary. But, you know.
If he's spending, we're still only gaining 2 action tokens a turn. Or, well, now 3.
Well, soon 3.
Yes, soon 3. Rush Makeover Celestia. Naming white.
Ah. Playing a Mistmain here. No.
No Mistmain.
Oh, a Stygian here.
There you go.
That's very clever.
But first, play the
snack
stand.
stand.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing I love about this deck, and also the thing that gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies, is naming white. It's a main that tutors.
Sure is.
If you get that main flipped, the lines of play past that point become very similar game after game. You really do not have consistency issues. Stygian.
Mm-hmm.
Provided you can draw even one value generating resource in one of the 3 saddle rows or one of the 2 snack stands, stuff just gets silly. Scoreface.
Mm-hmm.
So copied the saddle row here because you can take advantage of it this turn, and
Correct.
also action tokens are usually more valuable than action discounts.
Which is also the same reason why you run 3 copies of saddle row and 2 copies of snack stand.
It was Bugle.
Even though it has the color requirement.
Okay. Draw a card for turn.
Notably, you still do not have 3 white in play, but you have 3 Mistmains in your hand, and your deck, or your game plan in this deck is to play Mistmain as much as you possibly can. So I think you're okay.
Yep. Scoreface is fine.
Confront.
Yep.
No tranquilities to find yet, though.
Okay. Nothing yet.
You have a betrayed, and I would imagine that you get a betrayed in this situation. Yeah. Scaring Pinky is very valuable, and oh my god.
Yeah, you got 3 saddle rows now. You can start building houses on them, right?
That's how that works. Got the monopoly.
If you put a hotel on a saddle row, do you get to get twice as much action tokens when you exhaust it?
So coming in prize wheel spin number 2, a resource, play on saddle row storefront. Pay 2. Play Mistmain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to take back the trade here, though. Are you going to get back anything?
No.
Because it is worth noting, she still has not flipped his main yet. As long as I can keep Pinky frightened, which I will be able to do forever
with this hand, yeah.
I can force Cheese into a situation where he's going to have to commit to his main flipping if he's going to wipe the board with Catterjack. Which I still don't love, because I lose 3 resources and a lot of stuff out of it. Stygian.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be perfectly honest. As a pilot of the Reanimator deck, I don't think he can get out of this situation. The Captain Jack is a very good option, don't get me wrong. But
not saddle row, snack stand.
Like, you already have a Mistmain, which lets you recur all of this pretty quickly. Like, you're going to be so here's another Mistmain already. Getting back Mistmain, of course. You're at 4 points. You're going to confront up to 5 points. Next turn, he cannot play a Captain Jack next turn.
Yep.
It is impossible.
Yep.
He is 1 AT short. So next turn, you will be able to play another 3 Mistmains? Like, you're going to be up to 8 or 9 points even before the Captain Jack, and he is only at 3.
Yeah. The acceleration that this thing can show once you get over the initial hurdle is just goofy. And I think that's the important thing, is that one of the reasons that this deck, I feel, has been performing better than earlier versions that I or some other players have tried is because it has almost entirely eschewed the idea that it wants to play control. This deck does not want to play control. This deck wants to play, I'm going to generate more value than my opponent. And I will have a moderate amount of disruption in here, just like any other deck would. Getting back.
Yeah, it's actually closer to Pile of Presence, honestly.
Yeah, it feels more like that. You are going after a non-traditional win condition that takes place over multiple turns and relying on a large AT engine of sorts to be able to funnel or to be able to fuel your expensive cards. Exalt. Gain the action token. And much like Pile, that AT engine is usable across multiple turns.
So you could play multiple Mistmains here. Though, on the other hand, you could just have 7 action tokens at the end. Like, that deck doesn't have a way of making you lose action tokens. There's no Zipper Wills. There's no the problem, stuck togethers. So if you are in fear of a Captain Jack here, which is a reasonable thing to be afraid of here,
sure.
Just, I respect the DFO as well. The DFO here gets you 4 action token, or no, 4 points. And you're already close enough to a Mistmain loop.
Does more than that. Gets me 4 points, banishes Pinky forever to not have to deal with it, and lets me use Celestia.
Yes, now he can't rally Pinky, play Captain Jack. He has to
flip his main, play. Yes, correct. And what do I go for here? I don't remember. Magic Instructor. Oh, sure. Now it's a Magic Instructor. Okay. I still don't have the Tranquilities yet, but there's a Twilighting sitting there in hand, and that's pretty decent. So, okay. Score 2.
So an easy win for GP here. Yeah, I don't see a way for Cheese to win this game at this point. So he's gonna have to think of a different strategy next week, I think.
I mean, he does have the Bodyguard and Captain Jack, and so that's worth mentioning, right? Is that does make things a little bit more complicated as far as I don't aggro anymore, but I already have the Mistbane loop, so
you need 15 points to win the game, or 15 AT rather, to win the game at this point.
Right.
You would, assuming you keep a
we'll pay 2.
A snack stand and
to flip.
What's her name? Glimmer. You would need 17 AT to win the game because of Flim and Flam for white.
We'll pay 2.
And that you'd be gaining 5 action tokens a turn. That is, you win in 3 turns. So
Royal Family.
What are you choosing?
Choosing that.
Captain Jack does come down with Bodyguard already. Okay. I will choose not to put anything into play. But actually looking at where I'm at in hand right now, the amount of AT I have, and everything else going on, I'm pretty sure I elect to keep Stygian here.
Stygian. Okay.
Under any other circumstance, if I have a single friend that I choose to get rid of, Stygian's the first one, because, hey, I can always bring it back if I need to.
I mean, the resource is easy.
But in this case, Stygian is providing me the necessary white rec to be able to play Mistbane without having to play Flim and Flam first.
Right. I was imagining the extra AT you would gain every turn would outweigh the fact that you don't need to play entry.
Right.
Bodyguards.
It'd be interesting to see exactly what the math is on it. It's probably not that different. Bodyguards is fine. I'm going to choose to keep. And I think knowing that I can play the knowing I can play the Magic Instructor if I need to as an alternate method of point scoring, I'm pretty sure that I elect to keep a Saddle Row here, and I think I elect to keep the token.
Okay.
That's so you can bring back the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one goes away
I get
forever.
6.
Oh, you kept the Mistbane.
Bodyguard tokens.
I mean, I guess that works too. Well, okay, so I don't know why I did that. I guess it is better than keeping Stygian because I can still bring Stygian back. And what's he going to do? Belly flop a Mistbane?
Yeah. But like, so Cheese is not even
Okay.
DFOing this turn.
Score phase.
Like,
I don't think he wants to. Not with all those unicorns. Like he'll need
he
to
absolutely
eventually.
has to. He needs to be DFOing as many turns as he possibly can.
I didn't say that he'd want to do it or that he didn't have to do it. I just said he doesn't want to.
Fair enough.
Gain 4 action tokens.
Because, like I mentioned, 15 AT is all, well, 14 AT since you get one back from the Saddle Row here.
Right.
Like, you do not need to play cards to win the game at this point.
No.
And in fact, I would expect you don't play cards.
I think I actually do go for the some additional Mistbane cycling. Let's spend 3 action tokens. Because I can play Mistbane 3 times this turn and basically declare inevitability.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing. Thinking here.
Yeah, getting back a Saddle Row here, and then, like, the Saddle Row is effectively free because you will score another point this turn.
Right.
Okay.
Would let you on just 4 AT next turn, which you'll have 5 anyway. I don't know.
I opt for the Rush Makeover here, just again, fearing that I might have my my color denied somehow.
That's reasonable.
And it's also effectively free, so... And then I play it for some reason. Do I find a Stygian? Is that what I'm doing? I can't even tell you anymore. Stygian? I guess so. I guess we're just rebuilding.
One sec.
That's fine. Get a little lost in the sauce.
Okay, you're good.
Stygian, copy Saddle Row.
You don't even play Stygian to a problem. You are flexing that hard here.
Uh-huh. He's got unicorns set up. I don't want to risk that stuff. We just finished a game where I moved like 3 of his characters involuntarily up to a problem. Anything's possible in this game, man. Get the AT back, which I have not done yet.
Yep.
I mean, I can't say there aren't purple cards in that deck. There are, in fact, 9 purple cards in that deck, though he cited 2 of them out. See, there we go. There's a purple card.
Let's pay 2 to
He has no rack, but it's a purple card.
He's got a pinky sense.
He does.
But yeah, Cheese is going to go up to 7 points, and then the game is going to end.
Okay. Let's go to score phase. Attempt to confront Yuk Slooberfest.
Yep, Slooberfest is fine.
Attempt to confront.
The game is not going to end immediately, mind you, because by putting that Mysterious on top, there's Mysterious. He's going to be able to banish one of the Saddle Rows, which means that I'll be 1 AT short of being able to do the full 3 times Mistbane.
That is true. Unless you top deck 2 Tranquilities.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet. I will go ahead and search with Mystery. I can't find a rush makeover.
Yeah, normally you find a rush makeover, and failing that, flim and flam. So I think you have.
I believe I grabbed Luster Dawn here. As that is another potential method of getting large
An extra
points.
point. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know about the belly flop in hand, but you know.
Again, though, we're in a situation where you have inevitability. Like, even if you do not win this turn, Reanimator is not going to be scoring 8 points next turn.
Okay.
Okay, let's replace.
Like, my list, the one that Cheese is running, doesn't even have Mist Main to score points that way. Not that he would have enough AT anyway, but
Right.
Yeah, Cheese needs to be playing his other deck if he wants to
Yeah.
win from this position.
Okay.
right.
Ready. Gain 5. Draw. Most useless draw. See, this is why I side out 5 pieces of entry in matches. They're like magnets to me.
Yep.
Exhaust. Gain an AT.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna do it again. Okay, come on, GP. There's literally no reason to not play the Miss Main here. Your opponent can't bring back a card. Just, there is so much you could have.
Well, I mean, they can.
Miss Main for Miss Main?
Mm-hmm.
I probably would have, honestly. I would have just gone for the you don't kill me, I kill me play.
Last turn. And GS plays to his outs.
His outs of
Okay.
you forgetting you can play Mistbane next turn?
Ready.
It's an out.
Draw a card.
At least get to see what your other card is. You know, see what the other options are.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a very successful run with this deck, in spite of the fact that I didn't get to do all the crazy AT generation with the events, and instead just had to do it with resources. But you know what?
Yeah.
That's why you have both.
Don't know.
You
if
were
I can get 8
hyping
points
up
this turn.
Magical Instructor so much. I thought you were going to be gaining like 12 AT off of her in one turn somehow.
Okay, so understand that I have literally been losing sleep over the last couple days because of how much I've been goldfishing this deck. I see like tranquility loops in my dreams that are non-existent because I'm still awake. So forgive me for being a little confused there.
Well, once again, 2 years in a row.
Same stupid path through the tournament. Have to play the second to most number of games physically possible.
No, you have you did not do the same path because you lost before the winners finals last time, because the winners finals was me and Eminently Sensible.
Okay, sure.
But it's a very similar path, and once again you find yourself being the underdog in the grand finals and evening things up with just how you played your games here. Yeah. So I think he's wise to your tactics this time.
Right. I had a little bit of the element of surprise. It's going to be much harder this time, but there's a little bit of a catch-22 that I can present here. At the very least in Adventure next time, which is if he plays Hot Wings, he knows it's possible to lose to Zippo even without the full combo being assembled. If he doesn't play Hot Wings, we might have to do that match.
Ah, so you're saying there's a chance.
Or if he plays Zippo and you play Skystar, you just never flip Skystar and prevent him from having Novo in play. Because Novo is his only entry.
Novo is not his only entry. There's plenty of entry in that deck. You can move characters and drop Gummy into play.
Oh,
and you can
okay.
also flip Brian off of face-offs.
How many face-offs are you expecting BRP to start?
If I'm not flipping, none. But the point still remains: there are gummies in there. There
are gummies in there, sure.
There's other methods of getting entry, and that was intentionally done. Plenty of entry. I took out 5, and it was plenty. Don't you give me that?
Yeah, I will. Sorry, go ahead.
I got bit by Chrysalis 2 years in a row. Not this time. Not this time.
Yeah, I'll definitely admit that, like, so from my perspective going into this match, I always tend to expect for rematches like this that, the sort of status quo is that it will be, if not necessarily the same in exactly what happens, that, well, people are going to pick the same decks and it's going to be much the same as it was the first time because presumably people were thinking through the deck choices the first time they played. But now, this time, you've flipped it around, and the shoe is on Cheese's foot to do something different in the third match.
Well, it's not just Cheese. Like, because it is obvious that Cheese needs to do something different, it's not inherently true that GP will pick the exact same thing. Like, we have entered peak mind game territory.
Oh, yeah. And all of the mind games are going to be taking place before any of the actual gameplay has started.
So the question is, which one of you is the Sicilian and which one of you is the Dread Pirate?
All I know is I've been taking poison for the last 5 years, and I hope it does something.
Yeah, so we'll be recording that match this week, and we'll be streaming it next week. That is the same day as OnlineCon.
It is
But
also a day that I will be unable to commentate.
That's fair enough.
Which is most unfortunate, but I have great confidence in this community and its wide array of possible players and voices to provide a decent commentary.
No, it's fine. Just make the most obvious play every turn to where there's no need for commentary because everyone goes, of course. That is logically what any sensible person would do here.
Or we might just record the commentary in advance.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, we'll see. Regardless, next week for sure is gonna be the last match of the tournament, and we'll see the winner crowned. Finally, fill out those results over on the right hand side there.
Absolutely, positively for realsies this time.
No way that we can't do it.
My money is on Instagram. He took us by storm at Continentals. I expect him to do the same here.
I think his deck has a chance of doing it. All right. Well, it's been a wild ride so far, and I've had a lot of fun playing in the event. So,
Thank you.
However it turns out, thank you for hosting it as well. I know this is a tremendous undertaking for yourself, and I always forget that when we talk about it before the invitational season starts. I'm like, so you doing invitationals this year? I don't know. I said, come on, do invitationals, and then this happens.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like I'll freely admit that I'm after the 3 months are done. Yeah, I'm getting ready for this to be over. But come next year, I'll be excited to do it again. It's always a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you everybody for coming out to watch. Thank you guys for coming on to join me for the stream.
Thank you for having us.
And next week will be it's going to be a full day because next week is going to be a regular Meticulous Talk stream, then the online con, then this. It's going to be all pony cards all day on December 10th.
Speaking of, do you have any idea what you might possibly be talking about during Meticulous Talks next week?
I feel like there was some news that might need to be discussed.
Really?
Maybe.
Well, we can talk about one card, but
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to spend the whole stream talking about one card. Probably.
Yona and Sandbar?
who?
First good white main, long time.
Y'all joke about that. It's Octavia. She's back in yak form.
I mean, yeah.
But I'll leave that for our stream tomorrow. Spoilers.
Exactly
Shameless
so.
plug. Yeah.
Hey, you're on. It's your right to do it. I would do it if I was on your stream.
That's fair.
All right, everybody. Oh,
Yep, that's it.
yeah. See you next week.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Goodbye.